story has impacted a lot of people on different levels, from from trauma, from challenging agencies, looking at policies, local areas, local communities. And it's really what I want people to understand is that, I've been to the deepest, darkest place that I wouldn't wish on anybody. But sometimes we look at that as a weakness, that, we can't pick ourselves up, but actually we have a strength within us. Antisocial behaviour has just escalated over the years. My late husband, it was all antisocial behaviour when he lost his life, but then became murder. But antisocial behaviour at that time was drugs and alcohol, and that's 15 years ago. But the root cause for antisocial behaviour, I would say, is not one cause. There's a mixture of causes, from domestic abuse, alcohol, drugs, and sadly, we are now going to be seeing cuckooing and drug lords taking over the houses. We've got grime videos. So it has escalated. There's not one cause, but in that cause of the root cause of antisocial behaviour, the impact is being missed when agencies don't take this seriously. And so for me, antisocial behaviour has just looked at as a low level. In the work I've done over the years, it's been loitering, litter picking and everything, but in fact it has been a lot to do with drugs, arson, hate crime. There is a lot of mixture, which is certainly not low level crimes, as the police seem to say that when I'm either at my conference or whether I work with them when I'm trying to change policy. In work that I've carried out over the years, again, I've been really eager to work with businesses and local organisations, and I work with a great organisation called Youth Zones, which now we're seeing across the country, which basically means it's an organisation that encourages local authorities and lots of entrepreneurs to put money into a big function building, which makes children and young people very safe. It's their safe space. They actually, as well, maybe only get the most hot meal in that building. They learn education in a different way. And this is great for businesses to see, because not every child is academic. And this is what I always bang the drum about in my policy work through the House of Lords and through the education system when I've been on committees, is that we have to encourage children who are not academic, may not fit the formula, but they have got so many talents hidden that we don't give them the opportunities. And that's why, again, I've been really championing an organisation that we can absolutely open the doors for children, where it's a safe space. They can get all the energy with rock climbing, dance classes, art, creativity, get a hot meal. They've got a gym where they can box and get all that energy in a safe way, instead of causing harm and going into the criminal world. And most importantly, they learn education by English and maths. And I didn't like education, and I did like my education, but I didn't like maths. And I think most people said, oh, maths is, I can still remember it. So we've still got young people who are saying that today. But if they describe an item over the internet on eBay, that's learning English. And then if we look at them saying, well, what price range would you get and how do you get that? There's maths. And then they will sell that product on eBay or any other platform that they're working on, and they make profits from that, which then go back into the youth zones for the kids to prosper and have other things. So they are little entrepreneurs as well. So for me, it's very important that we engage with businesses, we engage with organisations, we engage with even government, to understand that it isn't always a straight line, as the system expects our young people to follow through. I'm really passionate about alcohol, drugs and young people, and I've made many documentaries. I've been in prisons, I've been in youth zones where they've got them they really are on the peripheral of going into prison. And it's so important that we look at how we tackle alcohol. Unfortunately, a lot of families with domestic abuse, alcohol is a root cause to the problem as well. But I think what British policymakers are really, I think any party, whatever you look at, they don't work together, they work in silos. So all the departments work in silos, and they always have this strap line when they go out in conferences, you know, we're in this together. In fact, they're not in it together. And that has been my challenge to each one of them that I've worked with in government, is that if you don't work together, firstly, you're going to waste money, and that money could be invested back into looking at alcohol and drug problems. And secondly, you could be duplicating things that actually don't impact the people that need the help. So for example, I was very much on the the alcohol tags that we had in London, was to test them. So if they had a tag on and they were having problems with alcohol, that would actually show up, and they're called sobriety tags. So we need to work closer together to make sure that we all understand, because you know it is a revolving door. We're going through the same things, but we just give them different titles. I call it wordology. But most importantly, if then messages and then policies don't help the people that we actually start this project to be, it's a waste of time, and it doesn't, it impacts on the economy, it impacts on health. So it is very costly if we don't get this right. My story has impacted a lot of people on different levels, from from trauma, from challenging agencies, looking at policies, local areas, local communities. And it's really what I want people to understand is that, I've been to the deepest, darkest place that I wouldn't wish on anybody. But sometimes we look at that as a weakness, that, we can't pick ourselves up. But actually, we have a strength within us that gives us the power and the energy to hopefully, we can get some areas challenging, people talking about it. And that's what, and reflection through the pandemic, the journey I have been on, I want to, want them to understand that, yes, I wouldn't want what happened to my late husband Gary, but importantly, there is a reason why I want to ensure no victim of crime is a statistic. That actually we've got to get humanity back into this. So I hope they see the mental resilience of, challenging people, say things for you. We all think there's a system out there that will pick up and protect us, and when there isn't, you have a right to challenge that in a respectful way and a dignified way, but challenge you have, because I always say they need to walk a mile in your shoes to understand why you are challenging, and why that challenge is to get better resources, better understanding, and better support for victims of crime and other people who are suffering from mental health issues, who are really struggling and feel alone. And my message is, you are not alone. There's many people out there to help, and that's what I do through my work as well. I hope when I speak to lots of audiences, all different dynamics as well, is that even if there's just one person who takes a seed of what I speak about, empowerment, about challenging diversity, and when you're in the most hellhole of life, is that you mustn't lose your dignity, you mustn't lose your respect, but don't judge people for what they are. There's a lot of people that have come to me who feel that they can't open up, in the workplace. They don't feel that they can, people understand what they're going through. But I do hope that whoever, listens to my speech, is you can be in the deepest, darkest place. I don't want anybody to suffer what we did, but it could be any element of your life. You are not on your own. You're allowed to challenge, and you're allowed to give that voice. You're allowed your voice to be heard. And I think that's what society misses is, freedom of speech is just one-sided at the moment. But I think, we should have better workplace environments. And again, we shouldn't be working in silos. It shouldn't be a tick box. So I hope the audience go away so that they can brainstorm and look and give them different nuggets to work with, because humanity is very precious and life is very precious. And I think we should build that in the workplace to make people feel that they're happy in the workplace, and you get better outcomes as well in your workplace if you bring your team with you. But as I say, from my speeches, my essence of looking how policies can change, if you don't look at that and don't open a conversation, if you don't understand anything, just ask a question and actually challenge if you don't think you're getting the right answer.